DAS as an alternative to macro sites initially got kind of favorable regulatory consideration. That's starting to erode a bit, unfortunately for DAS, and to some extent the similar issues to the traditional long-standing macrosite issues have started to raise their heads on DAS. So initially the attitude was, well, it's not tall towers, so we don't have the same visibility concerns. It's small devices, that's good. The RF issues that get raised about macrosites were not initially raised by and large about DAS. All that's starting to, the ground is shifting on that, I guess, and generally not shifting for the positive, unfortunately. So now we're seeing people say, well, you know, maybe I don't want this box on a pole back in my alley, and I don't understand what the RF from the box might be or might not be. So it's kind of similar, sadly. And a lot of it is a lack of technical knowledge by the user public, which is not surprising. But nonetheless, because of the divided jurisdiction here, you know, where you have federal policy, as we heard today from the chairman's assistant, trying to promote very rapid and very broad 4G implementation and adoption and take-up. You have local decision-making, not invested particularly one way or another in these federal initiatives, saying, well, do we want a 100-foot tower, a 160-foot tower, a no tower, DAS instead of a tower, whatever, whatever, whatever. And that tends to get embroiled in too many cases in local parochial politics. You know, neighborhood association does or doesn't support more infrastructure. People want the service, but they don't want the infrastructure.
In-building is white hot right now, and as a result, it's something that we're bringing to the forefront. I think we struggle sometimes because we've been involved in DAS for so long, and when I say for so long, I mean we're talking about 3, 5, 7 years. Some of the senior guys out there have been doing it for 10 years. And we forget that this is a niche solution, or it has always been a niche solution. So we go into a venue and we start pitching the benefits of a distributed antenna system, and they're not really sure what we're talking about. So there's a huge educational effort that has to be done to bring people in. But as a result, now what we're doing is we're bringing different folks into the equation who've really never been a player before. Historically, if you had a challenge in in-building solution, you contacted your wireless carrier that was providing your phone, and you said, hey, look, I just signed a line to give you a lot of lines of service, and you committed some minutes. I can't use my phone in my office. How do we fix that? They sent somebody out, they fixed the problem for you. As we start to evolve, as venues and enterprises start to move mission critical applications over to the cellular network, they start to become more involved in those decision-making process. They want to know what is going on. So now all of a sudden you've got either the venue owner, which if it's not the enterprise itself, you've got the IT departments of the individual companies that are going to be affected. You've got architects, you've got a lot of different folks who are now starting to get involved in this decision-making process as you start to move forward. And so that's a lot more education that has to happen. So what was never simple is now a little more complex.